Hi, Sarah Banis here, Spectrum Weavers. I'm going to show you today how to use Cricut Design Space. Cricut Design Space is a very simple program once you know how to use it. Anytime you have come up against a brick wall when using Cricut Design Space, it is 100% of the time an easy fix that once you have learned the basics and you've worked in the program for a little bit of time, you'll automatically know what the issue is if you're having a problem. So I'm gonna walk you through all of the basics so you understand how to use the program. Okay, so what we're gonna do today, we're going to build Ella's castle. You can see Ella right here. She's awfully cute. I'm gonna link her in the video description. She's by Digital Gems. That is one of my absolute favorite SVG designers, and I will link her in the description. She's super fun to cut. I'll also link these two fonts, two of my favorites. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do is minimize some of this and get it out of our way. So we have lots of room to work with. Over here. So let's go ahead and let's start building her castle. We're going to need some shapes, right? So let's first take a square. So you have your square. Okay, so let's say we don't want a square, but we want a rectangle. Well, here, first, before we do that, let's say we just want a square, but we want it smaller. You can see right here, if you grab it at the corner and you push it in or out, that will stay at the same ratio. Okay, if you want to change it and you want to make that rectangle, or I'm sorry, that square rectangle, click on the lock, and now you can move it any way you want to move it. Okay, you can also use this up here and this. So that's the width and the height, and you can do actual dimensions. And that lock, it'll do the same thing. Same thing as this lock in the corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give ourselves, let's make one square. So let's make it back into a square. 2, 2, and then lock your square. And let's make that center square right here. Make that the primary part of the castle, the front of the castle. Okay. And then let's turn that a pretty color. Let's make that Ella pink. Okay. And then next, if you select that and then you go up here and you go to duplicate, it will give you another one of the same. Okay. Now let's make 2 towers, one on either side. Okay. So let's make those gray. Okay. So now I want another one the exact same on the other side, duplicate. And now what I want to do, so just kind of shimmy them next to each other so they're right next to each other. But now what I want to do is I want to make them all the same on the bottom. So I want to make them all flat against the bottom. So you're going to left click and draw a box. You don't have to draw it around them as long as your box touches all of the layers. So let's look at layers first. Each one of these is a layer. You can see when I click that, that highlights that over there. These are all layers. Every single piece that's a single piece is a layer. So each one is a layer. So draw your box and select your 3 layers. And now go up to a line up at the top. Align. And I'm going to align bottom. And that's going to put them all right across the bottom. Okay. Now let's slice something. So let's go ahead and let's slice out a window. Okay. So we'll take a circle and let's make that a little bit smaller, and we'll make it a different color so we can see it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to make it about that size. And let's actually make some crosshairs in it first, okay? So take our square, unlock, and That should be about good right there. And then duplicate that. Okay. And now you're going to want to turn that one to make crosshairs. You're going to want to turn that 90 degrees. So with it selected, you can see that it's selected. Go to rotate 90 degrees. Okay. And then just put them by each other. Select both. Drawing a square to select both. Align. Center. So what I want to show you is this. Right now you have one layer, and then you have two, a second layer. Okay. We're going to make that a single layer. That's what welding does. So down here on the bottom, click weld. That has now made that one single layer. Okay. So that's one piece now that would cut as a single piece. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this over here, make it a little bit bigger, make it the size of our window. Okay. We can actually make it the exact dimensions of the window by clicking on that circle, and you can see the circle is 0.944. So then click on your crosshairs. Oops. Okay, so that's 0.972. And then the crosshairs 0.972. So now they'll be exact. Head over it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have to put it over it. I apologize. We're just building those we'll use them in a second. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this on top of our right here, and then we want to so select the two and then go to align. We want to align that horizontally, and then so with that selected and also the column selected, you're going to go to slice. Okay, now slice is like a cookie cutter. So when I move this away, I'm not just having to move that away, but I'm also moving the piece that I sliced out is there also. So now that's a transparency. You can see that behind that. Now that's sliced out. Okay, so we can delete the piece of the actual column that we deleted. This one we'll want, actually, you know what? I apologize. I wanted to show you how to duplicate there, but we're going to get rid of that. So we have an exact copy of this. Select that, duplicate, because we want, I apologize. Delete that. Let's do this first. So then we have the exact copy. Okay, so put your crosshairs in and kind of eyeball that. That's fine. You're going to select. So right now you can see it's two layers. Crosshairs are one layer and your column is the other layer. We're going to make that a single layer so that it all cuts together, and all it does is cuts out these four little pieces here. So I selected the two. I drew around the two to select the two. And then I'm going to, again, bottom right, weld. And now you can see it's a single layer over here in your layers panel. See right here? Single layer. Okay? And that's what you want. So now that we have that all welded together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm going to bring that right here. And now we will go ahead and we will select all of these and we will align bottom. There we go. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's put some, don't know what they're called, but what the top of castles have. Top of castles have unlock these little cute little things. I don't know what they're called, but these cute little things up here. Okay, so I'm going to want those right around right there. And now I'm going to duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. I don't know if I can get more than 4 in. So put that right there, and right there. It looks like we're going to be able to get 4. Okay. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select all 4 of these. Okay. So select the 4 of them and then go to align. And first you're going to want to center them vertically. And now what you're going to do, this is kind of neat, go to align, and then you're going to distribute horizontally. Okay. And that's going to give you a perfect distribution of the 4. Okay. So with that selected and this and your column, Now you're going to weld all of that together. Okay. Oops. I made that a little bit long over here. So the only way to get out of weld is to undo. Okay. And so let's go ahead and shimmy this over just a little bit. There we go. And I'll redo this. So I'll redo align, center, align, distribute. And now I'll select that and I will weld. So now it's one single layer. And again, mistake made. I'll delete that. Go ahead and duplicate this. That's what we want. We want exact copy. Okay. And select all, align bottom. Okay. And we can get rid of this. Actually, no, let's keep that for a minute. Okay. And then let's make this. Okay. And then you can scale that down. And again, if you want to make it the exact size of your, so select that. You can see that's 3.083. So make your width 3.083, and that'll make it exact. Okay, and then you can put that right there. And I want to show you something with slice, which is a very common issue. Okay, so say I have my circle. So let me actually show you something else first before we get into that. Did you see when I put this over here? See how it's behind the top and in front of the bottom? That's the way that your layers are set. So this is your top layer, this is your middle layer, and this is the bottom layer. You can change that. You can change what way they're organized. So if I right click and I click send to back, oops, right click, move, send to front, excuse me. Do you see how that disappeared? It didn't disappear, it's behind it. So this is now the back layer. See how it's behind both? Now if I want to send it to the front, I would right click and I would click send to front. And that's going to put it in front of both. Same thing with any layer. You can do any single one. You can also do that same thing with arrange. So with anything selected, then you can click on arrange and you can move them that way. Okay. So let's get this out of the way. Let's get these set back up. Select, oops. Select these and align bottom. Okay. Okay. And now let's take this and let's make that. And then let's go ahead and let me show you what I was going to say about slicing. So this is a very common problem with slicing. So somebody will say, well, I'm trying to slice this and the slice option isn't coming up. Let me show you. So there's my window and I'm going to draw my square, a rectangle in this case. And do you see how the slice option isn't lit up down here? The reason that is, and this is almost 100% of the time when somebody says my slice option isn't lit up, this is the reason. The reason is that you have 3 layers selected when you do that. Slice can only have 2 layers selected. The layer that you're slicing, so the layer that you're using is the cookie cutter, and the layer that you're slicing out of the dough. So in this case, you have 1, 2, 3 layers selected. Now, if I change that and I only select these top 2 layers, now slice is highlighted. Okay. So let me show you something else also. So there'll be times when you want to select 2 layers to work with. and you can't draw that box around them to get just those 2 layers. I'm on Windows PC. Obviously, this is going to be different depending on what operating system you're working with. But for Windows PC, I click on that circle to select it if I'm trying to select 2 layers without using the draw function. Then you press Control, and then you left click. So hover your mouse over whatever other layer you want to use, and then you left click, and then it will select that as a second layer. So now you have this and this selected. Okay, so that's that. I'll take this up here, and let's go ahead and duplicate that, and let's turn that pretty pink, and then we'll take this and we'll make that a little bit smaller, and take that right there, and we'll select. So also with the control, using control to select another layer, you don't have to do that. So right here, if I want to select these 2 circles, it would be difficult for me to get down and get those 2. You can also do it in your layers. So the one is already selected. Now with control press down, I'm going to left click on the other layer over here, and I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to center. Okay. And what I actually wanted to do there, so that would be how I would make that border for the window. But what I wanted to do is I want to slice that layer out. So let's take this out of the way for now, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to excuse me. So I have that selected, and I'm going to select this back, and I'm going to slice my window out. Okay, and again, move that away, delete that, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to leave that one. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build crosshairs for that one too. So again, square, and unlock. And if I were doing this and not trying to show you guys different functions, obviously I would do things a little bit differently as far as sorry, just give me 1 second here. So rotate 90 degrees. I would do things a little bit different as far as making sure that everything is exact. So like when I'm making these crosshairs, I would have built all 3 sets at once. I would have, so they had all the exact same size crosshairs, but you can figure that all out as you go. I'm just teaching you all of the basic functions. So I welded that together to make it a single one, and I'm going to take this here, and so I'm going to select that. I can select both of these 2, and I can align them, and I can't align it center, but I can align it it's not going to work. Oh, that's okay. So that's fine like that. So I'm going to select these 2, and I'm going to weld it together. Okay. And now let's make some doors. So we're going to take the shape. Okay. And let's actually make that a single. Okay. And let's make it a big grand door for a big grand castle. Sorry, I just want to make sure that Ella fits in her castle. Okay, so I'll select these 2, and I will align horizontally, and then I will align bottom. Okay, and I'm going to then make another square, And I'm going to make it the same height as that. So that's 1.903. So select that and make that 1.903. That was wrong. Oh, width 1.903. And let's go ahead and we will make that white so that I can see it. Oops, it didn't work. Oh, while I'm up here, let me show you something else. So you see how it says no fill and print? So you have two different options in Design Space. You have the option to cut. So all of these are cuttable layers, right? You could cut any one of these because they have a clear cut path. You can see the edges of it, okay? Something like a picture of somebody it wouldn't be a vector. It would have not a clear cut path. That would be something that you would do a print then cut. Okay. So if you ever upload something and it says, and when you go to print it, it's saying that it's set up to print, that means that you have it set up to be a print then cut. Not every image can be cut. It has to have clear cut lines. But if it is something that does have clear cut lines, but it's still coming up that way where it says that it's set to print, all you have to do is select your layer and go to no fill. So it'll be set to print. If that's the case, see over here how it says cut and print. Now it's this is set to print then cut right now. So if I sent it like this, you would have to print that first. That's not what you're trying to do in this case. So again, with it selected, go right here and go to no fill. Okay, that's going to change it back to a cut. You're directing your plotter, your Cricut to cut that. Okay, so back to this. Okay, and then no fill, and let's set that up to be white. Having trouble grabbing it because it's so small. And we will cut a door out. Oops. And then line. There we go. And we can slice that out now. Okay. And you can see here, so you can see here when I sliced it, that it gave me quite a few. You can always just delete any of the layers that it's given you that you didn't need. Okay. So put this back here. Align bottom. So you can see as I'm going that Design Space really only has a few functions as far as building design goes. So and obviously I'm assuming that you already know the basic text functions. I have a video on a better way to use text that circumvents the kerning or spacing issue with Design Space. You can look that up. It's on my channel. It's just look up kerning. So let's go ahead and, oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's put two little doorknobs on our door. And then we're just about done with our castle. Okay, so let's make those pink. Duplicate. Oh, let's let's do this. So let's make those little pink door handles. And I'm going to show you how we can get those. Those are actually pretty well centered, but I'm going to show you how to get them perfect on there. So one, right? I have it selected over here on my layers panel. Press Control, select the other one, and I will weld those two together to make that a single layer. And then I'm going to select those, and I'm going to select my door, control and select the door, and then I'm going to align, and I'm going to align horizontally. And there you go. That's really all there is to it. See if I'm missing any. Oh, let me teach you one more function. One more function is the contour button. So let me select this, okay? And you can see right now that that is a cut. So right now, the way this would cut is it would cut a triangle, and then it would cut out each of these little pieces. With that selected, I'm going to press contour. Okay, and now contour is going to give me each of those little pieces. Okay, it's going to show me. I don't know why it does it so large, but that's, oh, here, I guess we can decrease that size. So this will show me the actual image, and you can see each of these pieces. If I click on it, okay, so I'm going to click on that, it goes away. So I'll click on those three and then close it. And see what happened? It got rid of those three. So that's what contour does. So let's take that back up. Let's bring those back. And you can click on them over here to do it too. And close that back, and then that brings them back. Okay, now let me show you what flatten does. Okay, now flatten is used for print then cut. That's what you're using flatten for. Okay, you're flattening it into a single printable image. So let's go ahead and select all of this together. Okay, and now we're going to flatten it. So backspace, because that's going to bother me just a little bit that it's not exactly perfect, but that's, select these and align bottom. Okay, so now I'm, oops, didn't want those aligned on the bottom. So I'm going to select all of this, okay, and I'm going to flatten this. And now it's one flattened image. You can see right here, this is one flattened image. So if I sent that, if I pushed make it right now, what this would do is it would direct it to whatever printer I have set up. You can set up any printer that you want. That part doesn't matter. So it would direct it to my printer. And then once I had printed it, I would load it onto my mat and load it into my Cricut. And the sensor would it would read, there's a box that it'll print around it, and the sensor will read that, and what will happen is it will then, so it's already printed, and then the cutting portion of it, what it'll do is it'll cut out just the outside lines. So and then the inside, it'll cut out just the transparency part of it. Okay, so that's what flatten is used for. Now let me show you. So let's unflatten this. Okay, and let me show you what attach does. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to attach. Basically, what you're doing when you attach is you are, so let's go ahead and send that to the back so that we get this other part back. When you attach, you're basically just attaching the pieces together, and it's not permanent. So you can undo that. That a lot of times is used for if you're going to send it. So if I sent this to my mat right now, right, and let's say that wasn't attached. So again, same thing, you just detach. So that is reversible. Well, weld is not reversible by any other way than undoing back to before the event happened. Detaches, you can detach at any point. So send it back. Okay, so I mean that's really about it. There's not really, like I told you, I mean, Design Space, once you start using it, you'll realize how easy it really is to use. Oh, I know what I want to tell you. So if I were to send this to my mat right now, with each one of these being their own layer, just like this, right? what would happen is when you see it in your matte preview and how it cuts, it would cut them to save as much vinyl as it possibly could. So it would it would bunch all of these up together in the upper left-hand corner all together, so it's saving as much vinyl. If you want it to cut exactly like this so that it's easy to put together, then you can select all of that color, okay? And you can either attach them and then send it to Matt, and then you can make it then. And when you do that, then it'll cut it exactly like you have it set up. It won't boggle them around on the mat. Okay. So, and you can also weld them together. You can weld like colors. You would only be welding just those like colors together. Okay. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing, but I mean, really, that's about it. That's Design Space in a nutshell. Of course, if you have any questions, like always, feel free to ask me. I'm always happy to help. Um, Join me on Facebook also. I admin and mod a bunch of Cricut groups, a bunch of really good Cricut groups on Facebook. Lots of information on there. There's one in particular that I'll link that I have that I put a lot of my own personal designs that I've made. I put them on there for free. You're welcome to, come grab them and use what you like. I will, like I said, I'll link this. Ella, I will link her in the description. She is the cutest little cut file ever. Absolutely perfect for onesies and baby decor. And I'll link both of these two fonts. They're great too. But I mean, that's about it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Share if you have other crafters that are, friends of yours or in groups that you're in and they're trying to figure out Design Space, share this video with them. I mean, it's just I know that it's overwhelming in the beginning and that, it gets frustrating, but really, give it a little bit of time and you'll be a pro in no time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But that's about it. Let's go ahead and flatten this and make it a little bit bigger. And then we'll move her right to the front. And there's your castle. Okay, have a good day.